Hey, what's up, everybody? So XRP chilling at $2.40, and it's really comes down to, can we break out of this range? And I think we will break this range. The reason why really comes to the higher time frames, right? Because when you look at the higher time frames, I mean, it really is set up for a pretty big move to the upside. And if you look at where that could potentially land us, I mean, you just take a standard fib level from this beautiful range. By the way, this is the biggest range in crypto history. And if it breaks out, we're going to know exactly how powerful it's going to be, right? So, because this range is so big, do you think maybe we can go beyond that $10 to $13 range? That's kind of what I'm trying to think about here, because I'm pretty confident. Like, if you look at Bitcoin right over here and you look at this range, right? Look at this beautiful range we have here. See, we have all the structure. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we go sideways, right? Filling in all of that structure. So that gave us this breakout, right? And if you look at XRP, we have that same structure, except it's way, way, way bigger. So is the target going to be bigger? Is it going to be more sustainable? I think it definitely will be more sustainable. So if we look, where did we hit? Well, if you look at Bitcoin, we pretty much almost hit the 4.236, just a little bit shy underneath it, right? So that's a minimum target that we should expect for XRP, given the fact that we have the same rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways structure. And this structure took, how long did it take? So let's see, we have from here all the way to when we start breaking out, that's about 1,000 days, right? About 1,050 days. So versus XRP, I think we looked at this the other day. It was right about 2,500 days. So you have a Bitcoin range that lasted approximately 1,000 days, right? And it gave us the rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, right? And that gave us a 4.236 target. Okay, so if you look at XRP, it's the same thing, right? Especially down here too, right? You have a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, blast off. Rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, blast off, right? So it has the appropriate structure versus when you look at something like near, right? So if you look at near, it's got a wave up, it's got a wave down, it's got a little bit of a retrace, but that's it, right? Versus XRP and Bitcoin back in the day, it had a retrace, then it came back down, then it went sideways, and then it broke out. It had all this additional volume profile, right? So it built more volume profiles within the chart, right? Within the structure of the chart. So, and that's important, so that when you break out, you have a lot more strength behind the move, right? And then even looking at XRP versus Bitcoin also looks pretty postured for a big breakout because of the structure here we have, right? You got that rise, or it's a little bit, let's see, you almost want to say that this is the rise, that's the crash, that's the retrace, this is reaccumulation and sideways. But or you can say all of this is a rise, that's a crash, and this is the retrace. But either way, it doesn't really matter, because this is the most important part right here, which is the reaccumulation structure. And we still haven't broken out of it, but we came a long way. I mean, we came way down. I think, what is that, like 300%, 300, almost 50%. So we're looking pretty good here. I mean, could we have a little bit of a shoulder, maybe a head, maybe we come down for another shoulder later on and then break out? Yeah, that's possible too, but I think this thing's kind of flagging out in here, and we should be on our way soon. So if we look at, let's go back to XRP for a minute, go back over here, let's get rid of all that, and we could put our Fibonacci lines up. So $13 is the 4.236 extension, right? But you also have the market cap, which probably is more accurate, because if you look at Bitcoin, it nailed it, but it missed the 4.236 on the price chart, but it nailed it in terms of the market cap. So if you look at the market cap, you can see that, actually, let's go side by side here. You can see XRP, you can see the difference, right? I mean, it's definitely a difference here. So you can see the price chart is sort of parallel with the previous all-time high, but you can see over here we're actually we're actually above it by quite a bit, right? So here's the line right here, the very top of the line, and you can see we're below it, right? Versus over here, obviously you could see we are above it. So there's little differences, right? Little differences. And if we get rid of that, and now we can look at the Fibonacci retracement level here, pull it down. That should be about $520 billion, right? And really what it comes down to is the percentages. So the percentages from here, and then we're going to go all the way up. That's about 275%. Let's see if I can get a little bit closer. Yeah, 275%. So if I went up 275% on the actual price chart from where we are, approximately 275, we could see that comes right in at $9. So there you go. So, you know, are we going to hit 10? I mean, it would be really cool if we can hit $10, you know? So that's the number that I would love to see hit, but probably more realistically, more technically, I should say, you're looking at between $7 and $9 or $8 to $9. But here's the problem with that. Given the fact that this structure is unlike any other structure, right? Remember, we don't have an example we can look at to say, yeah, there's the target, except for what we looked at with Bitcoin. But that structure was less than half the time. Remember, so 1,000 days versus 2,500 days, that's 40%, right? So the Bitcoin structure was 40% the size of this, right? Of this structure. So if this is 100%, 40% is like right there, right? So that's when Bitcoin went and hit its 4.236, and it had the same structure, but just in a smaller. It had the rise, the crash, the retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, but it was a lot smaller, right? It was a lot smaller. Let's see if I could draw it like this. So we both have the rise, the crash, the retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, and then breakout. That's the structure right here. So this is the Bitcoin, that's the size of it, right? But look at XRP, it's way bigger, more elongated, right? Which means it's more powerful, it's stronger, it's built to last, right? I mean, it's the real deal. So given the fact that it is 60% larger than Bitcoin, how is that going to affect it in the price? Or maybe it doesn't affect it at all. Maybe there's no effect on it. Maybe it has a negative effect on the price. Maybe because it went so big. But I doubt it. You know why? Because the bigger the base, the higher in space. And there's no base bigger than XRP. There's just not. Right? I mean, there is on the smaller market caps on some of them, but they're not nearly as matured as XRP. For example, you have Litecoin that's kind of down here. Monero, right? Just to name a couple there, but really it's going to be about XRP. So you could see XRP is right now back testing the closes here, that $2 area, and we're flagging out. So this should be a 1-2, a 3, a 4, and we should get a wave 5 coming soon. So we pretty much know that, but here's the thing, like again, how high can this thing go given that the structure is a lot bigger? Well, we're just going to have to track that wave by wave, right? So the first wave we can look at is the wave that hopefully is upcoming very soon. And if we take a retrace here, come back down, right? The very first target I'm waiting for is $4.40, right? So once we get there, and then if we pull back there, like let's say we get up here and then we start pulling back, then what I can do is then I can measure the wave. Let's start it here, and let's say we go all the way up, right? And then let's say we pull back to, back testing it about 333, right? And then I can get rid of that. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to put a line at the 4.236 and the 2618, and then I'm going to get rid of that. And those are a couple areas that I'm looking at. So actually, let's just get rid of that one. Okay, so yeah, so if this would be, let's say this is like 1, 2, and then we get wave 3, and then we pull back for a wave 4, right? Or I'm sorry, we get a big 1, 2. This is a wave 3, right? And then we pull back for a wave 4. Maybe it doesn't have to be that big, right? Maybe it's a little bit more shallow than that. Then we would try to measure out that fifth wave, right? And if you look, if like for example 1, 2, 3, and we get up to that $4.30, that 1618 target, and let's say we pull back a little bit, and then we shoot up to that 1618, well, that comes right around that $8.39 area, right? So it's going to be a little bit more accurate, but we need some wave structure here. So if I go like, let's say 1, 2, and then let's say we get up to like wave 3, and then we pull back for wave 4. So where's wave 5 gonna go, right? Let's say it's up there, or let's just put it down here for now. And then again, what we would do is just take the bottom of wave 2 to the top of wave 3, back down to the bottom of wave 4, and that would project us to get our wave 5, right? Maybe our wave 5 can hit the 1618, or maybe even the 2618, right? So that's kind of what we have to play with as we get the structure. So there's no need for it right away, but once we start breaking out, then we can start doing some more accurate measurements. But it should be around that $8, $9, $10 mark. Now, if we get something crazy, like if we get up here $8, $9, $10, let's go up to the 3-day chart, and once let's see, a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, or that's flat, and then we get 5. And then for example, let's say we have an XRP ETF, that comes out, or some type of news catalyst, or regulations, or a partnership, or Swift, or some type of banking partnership, or Japan. There's a lot of Japanese banks are going to be using XRP. All of them are eventually, HSBC, right? So, or something to that effect, right? It could be. I think it's going to be the XRP ETF. I think once it gets approved, you're going to see some pretty interesting things. So it would be nice to see if we can break out, and then all right as we break out, then it gets approved, right? We have a news event, but just like any news event, you get a pullback, and then once it actually starts trading live, people are just gobbling it up, and then we go up and hit a bigger number, maybe $15 to $20. So the biggest number I have for XRP would be, actually, let's do that on the market cap, and let's see. So if we look at the market cap here, and let me put this to log scale, right? So at that moment, let's see, now we're looking at the 1618. So that comes in at 950 billion. So I think that would be our grand slam target if we can do it, right? And I think it's definitely possible. I just don't know if it's likely, but it's definitely possible because we have the ammunition, right? We have the regulation, we have the bank, we have the Ripple XRP partnerships. I mean, there's a lot of things that Ripple is doing behind the scenes that we don't even see, partnerships that are going on. So, yeah, and then also the ETF. So if we go up from here up to that 1618, that's going to give us 576%. So we'll say 580%. Okay, so if it's 580%, then what does that equate to when it comes with the price? So let's take the measurement, and then let's go up approximately 580%. So that brings us right about $15 to $16. So there you go. I think that would probably be the target. I used to say $26, $27, and that's still possible as well. But again, the market cap's going to be more conservative, and it's probably going to be more accurate because we've seen examples with Bitcoin and Ethereum perfectly nail the 4.236 on market cap, but not so much the price chart. So if the market cap is more accurate because of inflation, right? There's a lot more coins here than there were back over here, right? So in reality, the price, if we had the same amount of coins we did back over here, then the price should be higher, right? And it's true because of the market cap. But if we look at a 1618 target, you're looking at like $25, right? Now, if we did that from the $2 close, the monthly close down here, right there, and let's see, let's put that right there, the monthly close, and then you could use the wick. You don't have to, but we got, what is that? Yeah, that's only $11.25, right? And if I use it from close to close, look at that, guys. That's right at that $9 mark, just using close to close on log scale, right? Now, if we did the whole thing from wick to wick, you're looking at $27. But on the market cap price, that was what was that? That was 900 and something billion, 950 billion, which gave us the percentage up to about $15-16. So there you go. So is it which is it? Is it $8-9? Is it $15-16, or is it $27? Well, let's first focus on breaking above $3 to $4, and then we'll jump into that. But I think $8 is probably going to be the magic number. $8, $9, $10, right around there. So anyways, that's kind of what I'm looking at, just a little bit of price targets. So let's look a little bit closer on the smaller time frames. It is Friday, so it's always nice to remember where we are, and targets are a big part of it. So you kind of have 3 down, you have 3 up, you have 3 back down, and then you have 3 back up. But that's it's really just oscillating, right, back and forth. But primarily this is a flat, right? We have an ABC for a flat, and then this could be an impulse, and then we have a 3-wave pullback, right? Or we have 3 down, 3 up, 3 back down. So that whole thing is a 3-wave pullback. So we have a 1, we have a 2, and this here is, so far it's only 3, right? So do we get 3 back down, and then maybe 5 back up, and then we flag out and then kind of go? So there's a lot of question marks, but essentially it's just all about supports and resistances when we're talking about this range in here. So you can see these are some of the major areas that I'm looking at. Really $2.50. So if we can close the week above 250, I think it's going to be a really good deal. So far we're at 240. I would really like to see this weekly candle close at 250, but I'm not so sure that's going to happen because we're already on Friday, right? So Saturday usually hit and a miss for Saturday, but then we have the bloody Sunday coming up, right? So Sundays are always just been miserable. I mean, really, the way Sundays have been going, I mean, anybody could be a millionaire, right? You just, no matter what happens, every Sunday go 100x short. Every Sunday, 100x short, 100x short. Every Sunday, you'll be rich. No, I'm just kidding. Don't do that. That's a terrible idea. But seriously, if you would have done that over the last several Sundays and just open a big short Saturday night and then let it ride all Sunday, I mean, you'd be in the money pretty much. So anyways, but I really like XRP versus Bitcoin here. Whoops. XRP versus Bitcoin. So when we look at this chart, you can see how much more bullish it looks, right? That tells me that Bitcoin is weaker than the dollar because it's, so what's kind of cool here is the 8-day chart, right? And if you notice, remove all the noise, because looking at XRP versus USD, we're kind of stuck. We're just kind of not really doing anything, right? I mean, let me just show you real quick. Look at this. We're sort of just in this range, right? So we're kind of going up and down, up and down, up and down. It's uneventful, right? But that's because nobody's paying attention to this chart, which is XRP versus Bitcoin. But even looking at this chart on the regular time frames, it's still a little bit wishy-washy, right? You're going up, you're going down, you're going up, you're going down, you're going up, right? And you're just kind of ranging, and it's nothing special. Okay, but look at the 8-day chart now, right? What's about to happen on the 8-day chart? We're about to have a candle closing above this range that we've been in here, So if you look at this range, and you can see we are about to close above, for the first time, above this reaccumulation area, right? So we have 4.5 hours to go for this 8-day candle to end. So that's a big deal, right? Because if you look at this range, right, that was when we broke out. That 8-day candle broke us out, but then look what we got after that. We got a big giant candle. So I highly doubt anybody's looking at this, but I still think even with the breakout and with the close, right? Because we need the close. This is still the 8-day chart, so it's still going to take time for it to get moving here, right? So I really like this here. So we have our range, right? And you can see, if I could just drag this a little bit further, maybe change the color here. And then I'm going to put a second one right here. And then put that one to yellow. But you can't really see it, but that's okay. So this still is a flat, right? That's your flat right there. A, B, C. And then now we're coming up and we're just kind of consolidating. And now we're about to break out. So if this is a wave 4, right? So here's your wave 3, flagging out for a 4, 1, 2. We could be on our way very, very soon, believe it or not, right? So here's your 1, 2. All of that's 3. And then here's an ABC flat for a 4, right? And then we should go up and get 5. So what's the measured, what's the area here? Well, if I take it from the bottom, I could do it from there to there, but let's see if I just do it from here to here. Let's take a line here. Yeah, you're looking at around the 2618. At the minimum, you want to see about the 1618. So anywhere in that zone, I would imagine, actually, there's the 1618 down there. And then that's the 3. There we go. So it's a pretty big range, pretty big zone, but I'm assuming it's going to be a little bit higher, probably a little bit closer to the 2, right around there, right? So there's your measured move extension, right about 8,500 sats or so, around that area. So yeah, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we get a 5, and it looks proportional, looks pretty good. So anyway, that's probably enough for XRP. Again, the small time frames aren't really helpful at the moment. Except let's take a look at the 15-minute chart here. So we had this little move up, and it started off really nice because we had this 3-way pullback right there. You can kind of see it, right? So we had this impulse, you have a 3-way pullback, it's looking good. So I added a little bit there. We came up, right? We had a 1, 2, but we didn't get 3, or we didn't get a 4 and a 5. We just had 3, and it came up, it got rejected, then came down. But that's fine. That's why we dollar cost average. We don't go all in on one spot. So now you can see we're just kind of channeling down. So eventually this is going to break out and probably make some kind of retrace back to the upside. So probably just boring action throughout the weekend. So Bitcoin, though, it looks like you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe we work our way up for 3, a 3-way move, and then we get 5 again, becomes an ABC. Um, so Bitcoin, I think, has a good chance at being bottomed here. We have some pretty clear, very strong bullish divergence there between the fourth and the fifth. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And now you're kind of just chilling here. So it's just about chop, 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 chop. And then we want to work your way into a retrace. That's really what it comes down to, right? Worst case scenario, if this is one, so the worst case scenario is we have another low, right? And this drops down like this. 1, 2, 3. This is 4. And then we have a 5 for a diag. And then we have triple divergence here, and then we kind of go sideways, then we go up for the retrace. So it's either we do that now or we drop down and then do it later. But either way, I think it's coming. Monero looks pretty good. Look at that. You kind of got a little bit of a three-way pullback here. You got an impulse, a three-way pullback. Looks like you're gearing up here. You got a lot of structure, right? You got the rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation. You got a little bit of a sideways move. You're breaking out. Looks pretty good. Maybe we can let's see what the measured move would be from, here's your range there, and then your range there, and then I'll take a line here, go down to about there. Approximately, doesn't have to be right on the dot. That's about 222. So yeah, maybe we have some a push higher. I don't really like Monero on the smaller time frames as much as I do on the larger time frames, but it's still a work in progress, because the whole deal with Monero is that it looks just like XRP or just like Bitcoin. Like if we compare it to Bitcoin, let's see, if I just go right there, there we go, there's Bitcoin, there we go. So it's essentially the same kind of situation, right? You got the rise, crash, retrace, rise, crash, retrace. You come down, you go sideways in here, right? You go sideways in here, and then you have a breakout, and then you get the breakout. So that's kind of what we're waiting for. So we just broken out of this massive range. I mean, this in itself was a massive, massive range, right? And now we're sort of back testing in here, and you can see we have a flat, right? Boom, boom, and boom. That's a flat. So if this thing can get going again, that'll be great. And I think we could be very soon. So Theta is still kind of just flagging out here on the, what is this? We'll go 2-hour chart here. So we're just flagging out. So more likely, Sunday's coming up, the weekend. Usually that means we're gonna come back down. Even without that though, you have a big low, and then you kind of flag out like this. A lot of times you come back down and you revisit the low, right? Before kind of gearing up to go a little bit higher, right? So if we break the low, then we want divergence and then continue higher. So yeah, I would just watch this trend line here. And if we break it, probably a short would be there. Quickly get in, get out, revisit the low, and then come back up. Or if we're going to keep doing this, maybe that's a 1, that's a 2, and that's a 1, 2, and then another 1, 2. I mean, it's possible, and then we can push higher. right? And then kind of flag down. But one thing's for sure, we do have a three-way pullback here. So that's a nice move there. We got a three-way pullback, and we're kind of holding here. So let's see if we can get a bounce. Like CRV, you broke the low here, and you had that divergence. Yeah, but other than that, let's see, SHIB. I think SHIB is gonna be one to. I think SHIB is my favorite meme coin. I just like the structure of the chart. I like this. It looks really much like Theta, to be quite honest. It looks just like Theta. I mean, it looks really, really close. So, yeah, why would a meme coin trade the same way a utility coin trades? You know, that tells you that the market is just, it's not really it's not really picky when it comes to the assets. It's more about where the liquidity is going. So, yeah, anyways, I think this wave is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You got an A, you come up, there's your B, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down, there's your C. So you have an A, B, C. Now it's all about working the bottoms out. Maybe we have another low, maybe we go sideways. That's really what we want to see is building structure down here, so that once we break out, we have a strong platform to break off of. So if we have to come back down and retest it, it's big enough to support it to keep moving higher. So same thing with like near, you know, you got this three-way pullback, you got 5 waves down, looking for a retrace. I mean, they're pretty much all this very similar. ADA, I just don't like that. It really screwed up the way of it, the look of the chart, rather, you know. Small time frames, you have 3 waves up, you have 3 waves down, so maybe this could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves up, or at least get 3 up. That would be nice. I wonder if there's any news going to come out today or tomorrow. Probably not today. XLM looks okay. I mean, really, you just got a 3-wave move up, so maybe we get a 3-wave move down. Dog looks like it's kind of flagging out here, so. But XLM, it's more of like a falling wedge type. So HBAR, yeah, see, HBAR just doesn't, I don't know, man. I just, ADA and HBAR just don't seem that nice looking anymore. Like, you had a really good flat here. It looked really nice. And then you came up, drizzle, drizzle, drizzle down. That's perfect too. And then you came up here, but then we came back down. Now we're just kind of flatlined at the lows, right? So it's a little bit awkward. Yeah, it's very challenging. So I would love to see a retrace first to get a little bit more of a structure, but yeah, I just don't like the way it looks. Matic is just has just been free falling, man. But I think it's close. I mean, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves. I think we're really pretty much at the lows here. What's Ethereum doing? Same thing with Ethereum. 5 waves in a C wave. I mean, they're pretty much all the same. Algo had a much steeper move down, but I like how you're flipping back and forth here. Probably need a bounce. So all in all, looking for a retrace with 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 everything. So um VeChain. Yeah. 1, 2, 1, 2. Looking for another move up here. At least a retrace. At least you take this whole wave, cut it in half. At least get back to the 50 area. I don't think it's just gonna collapse like that. I mean, it could, but I just don't think so. Now, this could also be a B wave too, right? So you have an A, and then you have a B, and then you get a C, and then you go up, right? I mean, that would be the big crash, right? There would obviously be a big crash. Sui, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or if it's finished, that could be 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, something like that. Dollars found some support. What about Dogecoin? I haven't looked at Doge in a little while. It also looks set up for a retrace, but it kind of looks like this could be 1, 2, 3, and if we get a 4 and then a 5, that's gonna suck. Hopefully this is just an A, B, C. Yeah, we definitely oversold, and you got a lot of support in here. So you want to see a bounce. If we're going to crash, you still want to see a bounce. So everything's really dependent on this bounce coming up soon. You can see T drop kind of got a little bit of a 3-way move happening in here. You got an impulse, getting a 3-way pullback, maybe a little bit further down. All right, guys, that'll do it. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. If you want to hit the like, subscribe, drop a comment, let me know what you think, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Remember, anything I say is not financial advice. I could be wrong, just trying to figure things out and exploring ideas. And yeah, I will catch you guys on the next one. Cheers.